Okay, hey everybody, so we've got our lasers working, that's pretty nice. Let's add something else to our enemy. Currently our enemies just go like straight across the screen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my enemy, where is my enemy? He's in my prefabs, right? There he is, enemy ship. So I'm going to go ahead and bring my enemy ship back out here and do some tweaking to this. What I'm going to do in this one is I'm going to set him up so he does random movement. This is not in any way intended to be intelligent. It's just going to be utterly random stuff. So, he's got this movement one here. Let's see. So right here's our movement one. And basically, I'm going to do an edit prefab. Yeah, I'll do an edit prefab on this. And so the way that our movement works is he gets this random thing, and then he just starts going in some direction, right? And this is doing what I want it to do just fine, so there's really no problem with that. Except I would like to have, like I just said, random movement, okay? So let's start off with, let's do this. I'm going to turn off, not my set position, my move right here. So this is going to be where I initialized my starting position and everything. So let me do some changes here, okay? So I'm going to come back out here to Playmaker, and I'm going to go ahead and hit my gear on this movement one and do a copy component, and I'm going to change my movement to let's say starting, let's say initialize, okay? Initialize. There we go. So that's going to initialize everything. And then over here in my initialize, what I'm going to do is these two, I'm going to just chuck those so that all my initialize does, let's get rid of our transition event right there. So now all my initialize does is just set this random position, and then off he goes, right? So that's all that's going to do. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and scroll down a little bit more. Go to add component. Let's go find our Playmaker FSM, and hit our gear, and let's paste our component values into here, and we'll go ahead and edit this. Okay, so here is our movement one. Well, to begin with, we don't need that initialize, that's in our other one, so I'll go ahead and set this as my start. Delete that guy. Okay, so still, if he crosses the boundary, he destroys himself. That's fine. Crossing boundary right here, so we're moving. Got him moving on the X at that kind of a speed. Okay, that's fine. That's cool enough. So I want to do a couple looking at things here. Let's go to our 3D view. And basically, let's see, we're moving on our we're moving on our global axis, which is that one. So what I want my enemy to do is I want him to move on X, which is my red one, and Y. So I'm going to give him some randomality here, but he'll never move on Z, okay? Because Z is going to move him in and out of that plane back there. So if we kind of consider what am I going to have to do to make this happen, there's a couple things. We're going to have to pick a direction we want to go and go that direction. And then once we've done that, we're going to have to go ahead and have a timer for how long we do that, and then we pick another direction, we go that way. Okay, so let's see. So we're going to start off with what we have here. This is all just fine. You know what, let me pause this and bring Photoshop up so that I can kind of diagram this out a little bit. Okay, so here we are. We'll go ahead and let me fill this in with some white, like so. There we go. Alright, so I don't have my pen here, but we'll just come right here. I'm going to have a state right here, and let's fill this with our foreground color, which is that. There we go. Okay, so in here we're going to start moving here, and then we're also going to start a timer. Okay, cool. And then when that timer is done, we're going to come over here Shift F5, foreground color. And over here, we're going to pick random direction. Okay, so we're going to pick a random direction. So let me start adding some transitions here. Let me get back down to my layer where I can do this. I'm going to go boom, boom, boom. So that transition is going to be timer finished. Okay, now we're going to need another state right down here where we will do a fill in here, and we're going to move in new direction, start timer. So you probably kind of start to see where this is going. So right up here, where's my pin? And then back over here. Sorry about coughing. I hope you didn't have your volume up too loud. So this is going to be finished, and over here is going to be, oops, check, boom, and over here will be timer finished. There we go. So that's how this is going to work. Now notice it didn't loop back over here because this start moving actually started going in a specific direction to basically force my enemy to go onto the screen because, well, I wanted them to. Okay, so that's what they're going to do. That's my basic setup. Random direction is going to be determined through a vector. A vector is going to define our direction. We've already said we're going to have an X and a Y, and that's kind of what we're going to do. So we're going to take a look at these and see how this works out. Okay, so that's our plan. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of move this off screen over here and start putting this together over here. So I'm in my initialize. That's not where I want to be. So let's go to our movement, and we're going to move. We do still have this delete me right here. We could even put this off into its own separate thing. This delete section part right here probably will. So let's go ahead and do that. Start kind of cleaning stuff up here. So we've got this movement. Let's go ahead and copy that component. I'm going to change the name of this one to destroy enemy. That's the name of that state machine. Let's do another playmaker. Add another FSM here. And let's hit our gear again. Let's do a copy component. I'm sorry, I didn't want to copy the component. That was stupid. So let me copy this destroy one up here. There we go. Come down here and let's do a paste component values. There it is. But this is going to be, I'm going to call this random movement. There we go. Okay, so let's take a look at some stuff. Let's go into our destroy first. So here's our destroy. And what we want, we do not want this translate. That doesn't happen. So instead of calling this state move, I'm going to call this state waiting. I guess, yeah, waiting. And then whenever we cross a boundary for whatever reason, it's going to come over here and delete myself. Okay, so that's done. Alright, let's go to random movement. We're not going to need to delete me. We're also not going to need our trigger event. That's not going to be used. That's in our other one. And this state, this cross boundary state, we're not going to need that state either. So I'm going to go ahead and go away. I didn't want to make it global. I wasn't thinking. I want to just delete that. There we go. Okay, so my first state here, this move state, I'm going to call this one start move. I guess I was going to go with movement. Then I'm going to have another one. I'm going to do an add state. This is going to be a pick. I'm going to do random direction. Random direction. Then down here I'm going to have another state. This is going to be a move. Okay, so that's how that's going to work. So my start movement, I'm going to need an event over here. I'm going to call this one timer finished is my event. And I'm going to be using that in a couple places. Transition event timer finished. Come over here to random direction. Right click, add transition. we're going to go to a finished, which is going to come down here to move. Come down here to move. Then we're going to go to add transition, timer finished, and then we're going to come back up here. Okay, so we've got this diagrammed out the way that we kind of showed there. Let's go to our start movement. He's going to move in that direction. Okay, fine, no big deals there. And he's going to move for a certain amount of time. So let's do an action browser, and I'm going to do a random wait. And let's see, I'm going to call this one here. I'm going to do a new variable. I'm going to call this one min delay. And I'm going to call the next one, what, max delay? New variable, max delay, like so. Finish event, this is going to be in real time, by the way. And my finish event is going to be timer finished. So let's come on over here to our variables and take a look at a couple things. POSY, not going to be needed. You can see we're not using it. But my max delay, I want it to be inspector, and my min delay, I want it to be an inspector. There we go. Alright, coming back over here. Random direction, move. You know what, for our move, well, let's just go one at a time. We're going to do our random direction. Now, I know when I was doing the Photoshop stuff, I said, well, yeah, that's a vector. There's actually another way we can do this. That might even be easier. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a random float, and we're going to do a min of, I don't even know. What speed? We're going to do a min of -3 and a max of 3. That's what we'll do. We're going to call this one new variable, and I'm going to call this one speed x. Okay. Then I'm going to repeat that. Action browser, random float. Same thing. New variable. Nah, I'm going to hard code this. -3. No, really? No. I don't want a variable. I'm not really paying attention to what I'm doing there. Stop it. -3, +3, and I'm going to store this in a new variable called speed y. So I've got speed x, speed y declared. We finished that. We're coming down here. We're going to do an action browser. We're going to translate like so. We're going to be translating global world. X is going to be our speed x, y is going to be our speed y. So if we're moving, if I'm giving it values to those two, then it's, you can kind of think of what we did with the horizontal vertical axes when we were making our player movement. By having a value on both my x and my y, I can move on both x and y, which is basically direction, right? So I'm going to do per second every frame, action browser, let's do a random wait, like so. Let's bring it down here, and we're going to have a min delay going to a max delay. Finish event is going to be a timer finished, real time. Alright, so let's see what we have. Let's see if this works. So let's move that over there, and let's grab our enemy ship. Let's come down here. We have a min delay. Oh, I don't know. What do you think? 0.75 and a max delay of, oh, let's call it 2. Alright, there we go. Let's make sure to apply this. Okay, let's see what we get. Let's see what happens here. And you can see I'm moving in random directions, doing, you know, who knows what. Right? Seemed like to go backwards a lot. That guy got kind of confused going up, down. Okay, now they do like to move down below here. I'm going to save that for later, because what I'm thinking is if they happen to move down there, they're going to destroy themselves. Just because, hey, why not? Okay, so we've got our enemies moving randomly. Notice they're really not good on this side. This guy's the bravest guy. He's going the farthest. But most of them kind of kill themselves down here. You know, it happens. Whatever. They're enemies. What do you want from them? But we have a bunch of enemies out there on the screen, so that's pretty cool stuff. Alright, so yeah. Hey, nice. That was fun. Wasn't too bad. Any questions, just drop them down below, and we're going to move on to making the enemy chase the player in our next one. Alright, see you then. Bye-bye.